Now let's talk about the research that really is like, okay, Coach Reese, I get it. Nipsey's dope. Don't quit. But what are the things that we literally have the ability to hang on to? They're going to help us not to quit. 3 things. Okay. 3 forms of capital: hope, optimism, aspirations. Hope, optimism, aspirations. I want you to know, and research even says and proves this. This is what I'm studying in my doctorate, is that when you have hope, you have optimism, and you have aspirations, these 3 things will literally increase your psychological well-being. Hope, optimism, aspirations. And I believe that because Nipsey had hope, he had optimism, and he had aspirations, he was able to influence all of us and change the culture simply because of that. Like, that's where the marathon came from. So despite the ups and downs, I got hope. Hope means I know and I believe that regardless, despite the ups and downs, I'm hoping for a better future. I'm hoping for a better outcome next time. I'm staying hopeful. When I stay hopeful, that keeps me engaged. That keeps me encouraged. Optimism says, you know what? Despite that failure, despite that loss, despite that no, despite that person I can't rock with, despite all the negativity, I'm going to stay optimistic. I'm not going to allow myself to be a pessimist about whatever situation's going on. I'm not going to allow myself to be negative, to be destructive, and to stop, right? Again, or let me go backwards for a second. When you have hope, there's hope for the future. Where there's no hope, literally, when people feel hopeless, that's when people perish. When people feel hopeless, that's when they feel like, I can't do this no more. When people feel hopeless, that is where the most, like, it pains my heart to even think about people who walk around and live life hopeless. If I have no hope, I don't got nothing. Because really, without hope, what's the point? So number 1, I gotta have hope. After I have hope is going to influence my optimism. Okay, cool. Like, I'm about to stay optimistic about what's going on. Then the next piece is aspirations. Aspirations is a form of capital that, just thought about this, that Nipsey left for us. Nipsey left us aspirational capital because he was willing to double down on his hope and his optimism. And because he had a vision for his life, because he was like, I got gifts and I'm just trying to see them come to fruition. So this is how I'm going to do it. This is where he came from, being the Tupac of his generation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't rock with Tupac. I'm not that old, but like Nipsey, to me, like, bruh, the fact that he can do, and the fact that we have the same birthday, his grind has been, that's why we love him. So the fact that Nipsey was able to hold on to his hope, his optimism, and his aspirations influenced us to do all the things that we're doing today. That's why the marathon matters, right? That's why you having hope, you having optimism, and thinking, what are the aspirations I have for my life? Right? What are the visions I have for my life? Your aspirations should be tied to your legacy, because the legacy you leave is going to be based off your aspirations. And that's, again, and we're seeing it, Nip left us the blueprint for what that looks like, y'all. Okay, so that's our research that's backing everything that we're talking about today, is when you have hope, when you have optimism, and when you have aspirations, you have an increased psychological well-being that says, I can keep going. I can run this marathon. Regardless of what comes my way, I'm not gonna quit. I didn't quit.